So I'm making this video because I promised a few friends that I will make it. It's basically about things you should check for before you go on a road trip. And I wish I had a dashboard camera at the time. I was driving on my way to like my hometown, and I seen a car tire blow out and almost caught the car on fire. And also when I was in in college, when I got my first car, I remember my grandfather used to tell me, Timmy, make sure you got fluid in your car. And I soon learned the importance of that because I was on the road one day with my roommates and I'm driving around Greensboro and my car just puffed up in like white smoke. Come to find out I didn't have any coolant in the car. So I say all that to say, and also I see a lot of like women on the side of the road, and it either be that issue, white smoke, probably the car didn't have a lot of coolant or something, a flat tire, or some problem that I believe that could have been prevented. So that's what this video is about. Things to check for before you take a road trip. So I'll start with tires first. So the thing about tires is that they can be real tricky, and this I learned from this too. The outside of the tire can be nice and look good, like it's a great tire or a sturdy tire, and the inside of it could be worn. And let's see if I can show you. How to turn this around. Let me wipe some of this stuff off this tire so you guys can see how to check your tires. So when you check your tires before you get on the road, even for like your back car, if your car sit low, get all the way on the ground so you can actually like really see. I know it might look crazy you in your parking lot before you go on your trip, but as you can see, the inside of this tire is bald. Let me move it up some. See, that's a little bald compared to the outside. And that is due to the camber. So the tires, and like, you can see on the other one too. So the tires kind of tilt in at the top, and that's called camber. And you can see here, I probably got, nah, it's really not that much tread left. I have some more tires coming in next week. But I say that to say that your tire can actually start to either go really bald back here, or it can actually split. And I'll show a picture of how that could happen. Your tire can split and you can be driving and have a blowout. This is what I was riding on. This is crazy. Like, look at that. Wow. That's not good. And another way to check the tire, I guess I have to start the car. That cold start. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is turn the wheel. Yeah, it's open. Turn the wheel. So now you can see these tires on the front are new, but you can actually see the whole tread of the tire. And it's also a trick. I think it's with the penny or the dime. I think it's the dime. You should, if you stick your dime into the tire tread, you shouldn't be able to see the head on the dime. And also with the other tire. So you go around and you check your tires before you get on a trip, and make sure the tread is deep enough or well enough for your road trip. And another thing to think about is like if your car is front or rear wheel drive. So this car right here, the back tires push the car. On this car, the front tires do all the work. So if you can look at this car, I don't have the keys to this one, but you can see just a little bit that but you can see the tread is a little more worn right here as compared to these back tires. So if that is the issue, that can also come from rotation. So also take into account that you might want to rotate your tires regularly, and you should rotate your tires every other oil change. It's getting hot out there, but rotate your tires every other oil change, and so that'll keep the balance even. But you can only do that if all your tires are the same size. So if I have, that's getting too deep. That's getting too deep. Just so, ladies, when you go to the tire place, they'll let you know all that. But essentially, that's what you need to look for. But try to rotate your tires, because even if you have a staggered set on your car, they will still flip the back ones and flip the two front tires between each other. So the two fronts, the two fronts will flip, and then the two backs will flip. But if you have all four, like I do with my truck here, for tires that are the same size, they take the two from the front up and flip the two on the back to the back, and that rotation just keep happening along the cycle of your tires, or the lifespan of your tire. Brakes. Check your brakes before you get on the road, because you do not want to be traveling and not have brakes. And it can get to the point to where you no longer have a pad, and you only got the rotor. And then if you don't have a pads and it's just hitting rotors, then it's gonna mess your whole braking system up. So I'm gonna show you what this looks like. So that's one brake, right? Look how bad this one was. Like, the metal, it's like, the metal is almost gone. So this right here, this back plate is your rotor. And then you have, let's see if I can get up in there. You have your pad back here. So you can see like the little back plate right here. That's the back plate. And then the little material in front of it, it got the little orange mark on the tip. That's your actual pad. So see, you might want to check that. Some cars it's kind of hard to check, but if you have like rims and it got space where you can look, you should look there and check to make sure you have enough pads and rotors on all your tires. And most of the time you can tell when they need to be changed, because it'll make a squeaking noise. Or if it's past the point of like it's desperate, it'll make a grudge sound. And you'll know when it's at that level, because you'll hear it. So that's another thing. So that goes with like during your tire check. So you check your tires and you check your. That covers the tire portion of this video, because that's also very important when you're on the road. Next, I would say let's talk about the coolants. So first thing is you should get into the regular mood of, like, when you move your car, make sure nothing is leaking, because if something is leaking, it could either be oil or it could be coolant, the two major things. And if it's one of those, you don't want it to be no oil in your car, because your engine can lock up. And also, if there's no coolant in there, it'll get too hot and seize the engine that way. So, prime example, you back your car up and you see a puddle like this under your car, you should probably go get like a paper towel or a napkin or something and just touch it to see what color it is. So like for your car, if it's like green or blue, it might be your coolant. You might want to get that checked out. Or if it's a dark color, then that's your oil. So you will come to your engine bay and look over your engine. I think I'm gonna actually do this on my truck instead of the car, but you will typically have like a coolant reservoir, and that has your coolant in it, and you should be able to somehow check it. Some cars, it's a clear box, and it has a measuring line on the side where you can see how much coolant you got. For this one, you have to twist it. It's a little hard to get open, but you twist it, and the measuring tool is on the inside. For the oil, though, you can check that by, let's see. So, first things first, you have to check your fluids. So, you have your oil dipstick right here, and you have your radiator coolant. Some cars it may be placed differently, but essentially it's something you need to check. And it's a reservoir, so you can check in here, and it should be full. Now, if your radiator coolant looks anything like this, if it's a little low, and you about to take a road trip, I would advise you going by your nearest auto parts store and refilling that before you take a trip. And maybe you may have a leak or something somewhere. Something else to take it to the shop and know what you're looking at. And then with the dipstick, you will pull this out. And you will make sure that the oil, make a little mess, but you want to make sure the oil is in between the two lines. Oh, here we go. Kind of hard to see, but it's two lines. Yep, you can see it, and it looks pretty clean. So, and if your oil is like a dark black, then that means you might be due for oil change. Some dirty oil making your car work harder. I'm telling you, get an oil change. Your car is it runs completely different. That's like one of the most important things. And then, let's say if you do have a coolant leak and you have to get to wherever you have to get to, I would advise to keep a bottle of coolant in your car. Most cars, they sell the oil in 50-50, where like you just pour it in the reservoir and you good. And then some cars you have to mix. So like for my car, if you have a leak, you take the concentrated coolant and mix it with some distilled water, and you should be good. But I think overall, those are the things to check off on your checklist before you go on to take a road trip. So, recap: you check your tires, and then you check your coolants. Well, your coolants and oil, so your fluids in your car. And then if all checks out to be, good, take your road trip. And if you catch something before then, you can get that handled, and so you can have a safe road trip ahead. So, yeah, take that, use that, and be safe out there on the road.